Welcome to a lunchtime conversation.
We're going to be talking about what would happen if humans went extinct instantly. There is no waiting.
Poof.
There is no natural disaster to where it gives you time to prepare and then finally humans eventually die off. It's just imagine humans are gone immediately.
You could also say
It's the snap, right?
Thanos snapped
the
twice.
Thanos snap.
Twice.
That would be derivative, right? It would be half and then half again.
Thanos snapped a lot.
So if he snapped twice, then yeah, it would be like 3/4,
At
1/3 of
half-life.
it, 2/3 of a star.
Anyway.
Yeah, half.
So we'd have to cover what happens immediately, which would be cars are crashing, planes are falling out of the sky, dogs are dying.
Immediately though, I don't think immediately.
Yeah, but I mean,
Pretty quick, probably
pretty
within a
quick.
week.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
The immediate would
Your
be
poor puppy.
Yeah.
the immediate would be like the threats of
Fire.
moving objects,
Moving
fire
objects.
happening,
Yeah.
things that humans are needed right now to control. Yeah.
Well, okay. So that's obvious. That's the obvious stuff: the moving objects, the buses, trains, planes.
Here's something you don't think of. So like say a manufacturing facility that's producing something that's coming out of the line,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
and then it just keeps running.
yeah, like what are those?
Like
what are those
a
things?
guy was like, he's running something and he's supposed to turn it
Push
off
us to
at
steer
10
through the
feet.
wall.
And it just spears through the wall and just keeps producing, and then spears the propane tank, and then it starts a fire. Then I think that's the stuff that would be like you wouldn't even think of that would cause so much chaos.
Right. So the other things that, what are those things where humans have to maintain on a daily or something basis, or else something crazy happens?
One that I read when I was looking at this was nuclear reactors. Nuclear power reactors are required for humans to monitor and maintain. It's probably not an immediate effect. It'd probably be a meltdown after so long. But those going bad would be really bad to the environment. I mean, Chernobyl, right? That's bad.
Yeah. There aren't very many of them now.
But
There is a lot of them. There's a lot more than you think.
Is there?
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I want to say, and I'm going to look it up, I want to say nuclear reactors are also set up to have fail safes. They're supposed to be by rivers to help cool down the reactors and stuff to where if no one showed up, it would flip on a automation slip
that
to
flows
where
the river into.
that flows the river into it just to keep it from going kaboom. But I'll do some research while we're talking about it.
Yeah. But then you brought up the dog one. Like animals would die at some point.
Yeah, like domesticated ones.
Domesticated animals, not wild
Domesticated,
animals,
yeah.
would die at some point.
Mm-hmm. But then I go to like the I Am Legend type of scenario where obviously you get rid of Will Smith, but that's the landscape. Is nature takes back over very quickly. Think of it, how often you have to go out to your damn driveway to
Weed it.
shoot that weed with the weed killer. Pretty often. So now fast forward 10 years and shit's just taken over. You know what I mean? Because their cars aren't driving on roads anymore. And so they're not killing it off, right? If they're sprouting or whatever, they're taking over the roads, they're taking over the sidewalks, taking over the houses. I think it would get very natural pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah, I wonder how long that would take for it to become natural. Because
Mhm.
we have cement that lasts a long time,
Mhm.
stone that's been worked that lasts a long time, asphalt, steel, metals, that stuff lasts a long time.
We even look at cities like New York City or Los Angeles, it's just a concrete jungle
Yeah,
of just not
there are
concrete, but
weeds under
still
there.
in.
There's dirt.
Well, there are, because there's the park and there's weeds that are maintained and there's people walking on them, so they can't grow. But you get rid of that stuff and you have a good bloom in Central Park. That shit goes and finds a way.
Spreads.
Goes and finds a way.
Life finds a way.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I think that's kind of where it would go is it would, within 10, 15 years, it's going to be overgrown. Things are going to be overgrown. We're going to be looking at The Last of Us, I Am Legend, those types of scenes.
And the cool thing from I Am Legend is just even if humans disappeared, well, probably I was thinking hopefully some of the lions would be able to get out, because how cool would it be to have a freaking lion hunting deer in Madison Square Garden, like arena?
Mhm.
Like that's what would be crazy, is if some of those animals could escape. And the thing I like to think about is almost like if a virus just started to wipe out humanity, because then people would let some of those wildlife go. Because then it would be like hey, I'm going to die. I might as well let my dog out of my house.
Right.
Because then your dog survives. It lives with the pack. Pretty soon there's wild dogs everywhere. But if humans just disappeared, that's where it'd get crazy, because a lot of like zoo animals are kept up pretty tight. Like they ain't getting
any
out.
domesticated animal, any zoo animal,
They're
all
just
dead,
done.
all
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I brought this up, Braden said the same thing, like the I Am Legend scenario where it's a mass evacuation, pandemic's happening, people are dying. You're taking your pets with you. You're letting things out. You're going to try to keep everything alive that you can. But in this scenario, there is no opportunity for that. Everything's just dead, which would be kind of crazy to think about. Like how many power lines are run right now? How much gas is run through pipes?
Yeah.
Where does all that go?
Yeah. And when it
Well,
lights
probably
on
just
fire and it
stops.
explodes and it leaks and then it explodes and
Yeah, I think it'd be more. I don't know. I don't think it'd be as catastrophic. There'd be some of those with the power plants and stuff. I think
the planes crashing.
and the planes crashing, which would cause some things. But I think other than that, things would just kind of shut down. Just things would stop working. They're not being maintained. They'll break down and quit running. And but other than that, like that's the end of it. I think it'll be actually pretty anticlimactic.
Yeah, maybe. How long would it take for Earth to return to non-human Earth?
What do you
Just
mean?
Earth without humans breaking shit and making asphalt and sidewalks and
So all that shit's broken down and
yeah,
gone.
it's just
Thousands,
just
probably.
Earth.
Thousands of years.
You think so?
Yeah. Because I mean, you think of like the steel and plastic and concrete and like so there's no remnants. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't tell we were here. Yeah, probably like 10,000 years.
We're checking with ChatGPT.
What is it saying?
Well, it's giving me too long of answers. I just want to know how many years.
We don't have
Sometimes
to follow
when I
it.
type in ChatGPT, I say, I want this in 2 sentences.
Does it work?
Give
Yeah, it
me
does.
a damn number is what I'm going to tell ChatGPT right now.
You're definitely dead when AI becomes sentient.
No,
You just cussed at
I will-
AI.
I will. Oh my gosh, it didn't give me a number. I'm going to murder this ChatGPT.
Dude, AI is not as scary as it looks. Like AI is taking over our lives as it is already. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's been pretty fucking good.
AI will be
Awesome.
good.
What's funny is we had ChatGPT down at work for a while. Me and Trevin were talking about it when we were pretty pissed off. We're like, what the fuck is going on? We use this shit all the time. We had a conversation about we don't need ChatGPT. We like ChatGPT.
We
So we were
want
talking
it.
about how much we enjoy the AI, even though it's probably going to control us.
I don't think so. Well, look at things like the new Google Pixel, where you can take a picture and then you can use AI to help you manipulate these pictures.
Well, that's how
Yeah.
my phone is. If I take a picture of the moon, it takes all the screenshots off Google and it makes it better.
Have you seen the issue with Samsung they got busted for?
No.
You haven't?
Uh-uh.
I haven't
You
heard of-
haven't? So I think it's with yours. You can zoom into the moon
Yeah.
and it's super crisp and clear.
Yeah.
So they've been
They're using AI for that. It's not a picture of the moon, right?
they've been using AI. So
Yeah,
what
I
they've
already
been
knew
doing
that.
is they've been doing a dark room and they put a white spot and they just keep zooming in on that and then all of a sudden boom, the moon populates. And it's like, here's the part of the moon you're looking at. And so they got in trouble because it's like, you're not looking at the moon. Like, don't advertise that like you're zooming into the moon and it's using AI to help. Like, no, you're zooming into a white spot on a wall that's in a dark
and
room.
it's going like, oh, moon.
Yep. And
I
it's in-
recognize moon.
Yep. It's the
Oh.
moon. Here's what it looks like. So I don't know if they got in trouble, but they got caught for
Yeah, you can when you take a picture, we can do it off my phone. It's a shitty picture, and as soon as you hit enter or hit the picture, you can see it stabilize, and you can see the AI snap, and you can see it clear and
fill in
crystallize
all
and
the
fill
gaps.
in. Yeah, you can see it happen. It's pretty interesting.
So here's another. I know this was going to be a short episode, but I'm going to make it a lot longer. Here's another thing to think about. Did you ever see the movie Leftovers or the HBO series Leftovers?
No.
So the premise is that one day 2% of the population of planet Earth just goes poof, is gone, and it's just
2%.
it's just random. That's what they calculated out. It was close to 2%, but it's just random. Like there's some families where the wife is eating breakfast with her husband and her 3 kids. She turns around, she's super frustrated with the kids, turns around to get a glass of orange juice, turns back around and they're gone. And so she's like, what the heck? There's someone else that's like, they're in the getting an ultrasound on their baby, and they're emotional and they start wiping their eyes and they look back and the baby's gone. There's other families, no one disappears. Like everyone's fine. And so it's just super random, the people that do disappear. And then the whole series is about how people react to it and how there's like religious cults that start up. Long story short, really, it's really wacko. I actually really enjoyed it. It was a fun series. At the end of it, there's a theory that it split the earth into two paradoxes almost. And on one earth, there's 98% of the population, and on another Earth, there's 2% of the population.
98%'s gone.
Yeah, that they think 98% is gone. And so that's where it was really, so that would be crazy as if like everyone disappeared besides 2% of the population. That would be wild because that would still deteriorate, but hopefully you would have a nuclear guy that's like, I guess I'm going to travel around the US and shut all these reactors down in a good format. So
I think that would be interesting. Of the people disappeared. That nuclear guy's going, fuck it. Like we're all dead.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Everyone's gone.
So this was kind of like the takeaway from the series is they figured out they found radiation in the areas where a lot of people disappeared. So then they messed with that, and then they were able to send people to that other planet. Supposedly, they never confirmed it in the series. And when they got there, they noticed the people on the 98% planet were effed up. Like the whole planet was effed up. But the people that lost 98% and there's only 2% left, they were pretty well off and they were happy with what they had. And they were pretty happy because they're like, man, we're pretty grateful. Look at all this stuff. And they worked together. They were better in their communities. So it was an interesting concept. Just kind of that theory. They never even confirmed it, but that theory was interesting.
Cool. How old is it?
It's older. It's probably 10 years old.
Lame.
No, it's good.
I'm just kidding.
Anything that's not
it is wacko. It is a weird. It gets into some religious stuff. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. Leftovers, HBO.
See, and that's interesting because you could probably do more with that than if everyone disappeared. Because if everyone disappeared, it's just like, what are you doing?
But
there's no religion to back it.
Yeah.
You know?
And ChatGPT wasn't giving me much. It was basically like some structures would be around for hundreds of thousands of years. Just because there's so much like it would take a long time for it to erode to nothing.
Which there is a theory that if we found a planet with civilization on it, there's a good chance that civilization's already dead and we'll just find the remnants of them being alive.
Yeah, like find stuff.
Which what would be scarier if you've dropped in on aliens are real or if the remnants of aliens are real?
Well,
real.
If they were there?
Yeah.
Really?
That'd be scarier.
Well, what about the theory of like we're the last humans? Because there's a theory that we're the first ones. That's why we haven't found anything. But what if we're the last?
Everything else never made it through the Fermi paradox.
Yeah, everything else has been around way longer than us, and they're already off and dead.
Yeah, I don't know.
Both scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that we're not alone is scarier than we are alone.
Disagree. I think the other way around.
I do. I'm with Jordan. It's scarier to think that
we are alone.
Why?
Because not being
then everything you know
makes more sense to me. If we are alone, I couldn't even comprehend that. Why,
if we are
why
alone,
are we here, but there's nothing else here?
Braden, if we're alone, there's a God.
If we're alone, we're in a simulation.
Okay. Yeah. Point taken. I reverse my opinion.
Okay. Wow. That was
Easy.
never seen that happen.
Yeah. He's not one easy to convince.
Yeah, I think everyone disappearing would be wild. 2% being left over would be crazy. And I do agree with kind of that thing. If there's 98% left over, the leftovers,
they're distraught. They're
they would be
we lost
wacko.
one of our family members.
Because they could still move on with life, but it would tear.
The 2%, they got to fight tooth and nail to live.
Yeah. There's more to fight for. And they talk about that. I was listening to a Jocko Willink podcast and he's talking about how it was with Joe Rogan. And they were talking about how if you got they were calling it an epidemic in I think it was a rich neighborhood in San Francisco where a lot of teenagers were committing suicide because they didn't have anything to look forward to as far as hard work versus you had some poor kids in poor neighborhood and there wasn't a lot of suicide going on because they were trying to work just to stay alive. They were helping their mom work a job so they could stay in their house and not get kicked out. And it was just a very, very different as far as the suicide rates go.
Which is a real thing. The rich kid who got handed all their money, they don't have a good work ethic. They suck.
They don't have to work
shitty
for
people. people who have had to come up through that, they're better people.
It changes it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, fuck rich people.
Yeah. Fuck them. Yeah, that's all I got though.
Thanks for listening today. We hope that you take this back to your friends and your family and have these same conversations.
You can catch us at a Lunchtime Conversation on Instagram and a Lunchtime Conversation on Facebook, and on Twitter or X, it is a Lunchtime Convo.
We'd love to hear from you, and maybe we'll use you guys on a future episode.